It's the best way to start your NFL Sunday. Welcome everybody back to Sunday Morning Slants. I'm your host, Matt Watson, joined alongside Mason and Kyle. How are we tonight, gentlemen?
Pretty all
Doing
right.
great. Ready to get talking.
Hell yeah. So it was another great week of NFL football that we're going to be recapping for you in just a minute here. But I wanted to start things off by just describing the thumbnail and the title of this episode. Down goes the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty. And I would just like to have a moment of silence for the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Very happy for the run that they had. Not really, but I'm very glad for it to be over. So shout out to Kansas City. You had a good run. There's always, sometime in the next 50 years for you guys. Best of luck.
You're victory laughing.
I am victory lapping. I don't even care if the Chargers come back and leap us for the division.
Bro,
Anybody but the Chiefs.
You might be jumping ship a little early.
Nope. Locked in. 9-2, baby. But we'll get into the Broncos in a little bit. So, like we typically do, we're going to go around and talk about a game that we watched over this past weekend, some of our takeaways from it, and how it might affect the NFL moving forward. So, Kyle, I'll start with you. What was a game that you watched over the weekend, and what are some of your takeaways?
Yeah, so as a fan of an NFC team, I feel like we got to talk about the Seahawks and Rams game that took place Sunday afternoon, because it was billed as one of the best games of the week because you had two top-tier NFC opponents going at each other. It's a divisional game for the actual lead in the NFC West. So a lot on the line here. Some people even murmuring about maybe switching it to Sunday Night Football over Eagles-Lions. So that should tell you how much people were excited for this game. And overall game, depending on what you were looking for, it wasn't an offensive explosion. But this was also the two top five scoring defenses going against each other. So, I mean, you kind of expect like a lower scoring game, even though you have two top five offenses as well. So we didn't really know what to expect, but we had a Sam Darnold masterclass. Multiple turnovers, just boneheaded throws. And now some questions are creeping in maybe about Sam Darnold and as a big game quarterback, because last year during not even the playoffs, but before the playoffs, the last two games with the Vikings were really fighting for the lead in the NFC North. Sam Darnold kind of wet the bed. Some people were saying he was seeing ghosts, and those ghosts came back a couple weeks after Halloween to haunt him again this week. But that's the main takeaway. The Seahawks are going to go as far as Darnold takes them. I think he could actually get better. I think this isn't all doom and gloom for Sam. I think actually, because if you think about his career up to this point, on the Jets, there's literally no expectations. That place is a dumpster fire. He was hailed as a bust. He bounces around the league a little bit. He ends up on the Vikings, but he wasn't the starter, right? J.J. McCarthy was going to come in, be the one to take the reins as a rookie. He gets hurt. Sam Darnold's thrown in. There's literally zero expectations. So Sam Darnold's in his seventh or eighth year at this point when he's on the Vikings. Zero expectations at any point in his whole career. He's playing on the Vikings. He does good. All of a sudden, people are actually counting on him to win. He folds under the pressure for the first time. And then we see the same thing this year. But I think as he gets more of these games under his belt, he could actually start to maybe get used to it, and we see less of these ghosts and more of him firing up. So I don't think the Seahawks are done yet. And then on the Rams side, they're nasty. If the Eagles, which don't sort their shit out, I can very easily see the Rams going in because they're built similarly, at least on defense, where you have a whole cast of young studs on the defensive line, just totally wrecking havoc. You got Jared Verse back to his old ways. You got multiple D linemen other than him, Braden Fisk, a whole lot of them. So, yeah, they're exciting to play, unfortunately, to say as an Eagles fan. But, then you got Stafford who could win MVP. They're the whole package, I think. They're going to be a tough out in the playoffs no matter who plays them. And hopefully the Eagles can beat them out for the first seed, but I don't see how many more games they're going to lose.
Yeah, man, I think the Rams look legit. I in our preseason prediction, I didn't have the Rams making the playoffs, which because I honestly just didn't know what Stafford was going to look like. I mean, the joke running into week one was that he was dead and that they cloned him. I mean, we had no idea the health status of Sam Darnold, Matt Stafford. And so because of that, I was like, maybe the Rams will miss the playoffs because I was high on Seattle and I thought the 49ers would take care of business, which they're both doing. But the Rams are just right there as well. No, I going to the Sam Darnold point because I know I came on here last week and I made a case for him to win MVP. That one was deflated a little bit after the 0 for 4 with 4 picks in this past game. But even though he didn't have his best, clearly, they had a chance late in that game to still put the Rams away. Like they had a chance late to come back and win this game. And I think overall, I think it's a sign of success for Seattle right now. They've been beating up on pretty bad teams. They came out and they played their worst game so far against a legitimate team, and they still had a chance to win at the end. So I would imagine, the next time these two teams play, I think Darnold will be a little more prepared. I think Seattle have a different game plan, and I think he will be able to, I don't think he's going to throw 4 picks again. So I think for Seattle's sake, it wasn't their best. Clearly, they would have liked to win that game, but I don't think all things are lost after that. I think they still have an opportunity to turn things around. So I don't think it was a big deal, but definitely a little bit of a worry sign because, like you mentioned, last year with Minnesota in the playoffs and kind of leading into the playoffs, Darnold, who had looked great all year, started to struggle a bit. So is he just kind of an average quarterback playing above his head right now, or does he have the opportunity, to take that next step? So it'll be interesting to see. Mason, what did you think about, overall Seahawks Rams?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the Rams were able to just keep, the Seahawks were able to just keep this one close, considering how badly they lost the turnover battle tells me that they still have life. But there's obviously, I mean, the concerns are going to be there until Sam Darnold proves otherwise. I mean, I don't think anyone's really going to be picking him or the Seahawks in the playoffs, depending on who they're playing. Like if the Seahawks had to come to Philly or Detroit, I am not trusting Sam Darnold in those spots. So until he proves otherwise, they're on fraud watch a little bit. But obviously, they're not going to collapse. I'm sure they have a bunch of games on their schedule that they're going to keep stacking wins. Depending on how that second Rams game goes, they're either going to end up as one of the top 2 seeds probably, or that top wild card spot. So I don't think they're in any trouble, but definitely some concerns, especially as we head toward playoff time.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I mean, like you said, these are 2 great teams. The Rams 8-2 at this point. They get Tampa on Sunday Night Football, and the Bucks, we were talking a little bit off camera, are so injured, and they just need guys back, and they just need to stay afloat. Really, I know with Carolina catching up with them in the division. Looking ahead for the Rams, they get Tampa. They get a Panthers team that's playing pretty well, although I think the Rams should take care of business there. A Cardinals team with Jacoby Brissett that's giving up 40 points a game. Should be an easy win. Then you get the Lions late in the year. That should be a fun matchup. You get the Seahawks again, and then Falcons, Cardinals. So, I mean, at the worst, I think the Rams maybe drop 2 more games. They'll go 13-4, and unless Seattle and or the Niners can leap them, I think the division is in their grasp. So that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. But just 2 great teams that I expect to make the playoffs. And like Mason, you said, regardless of who they play, they should be really fun matchups to watch. So we'll see how that turns out. But all right, yeah. Going over to Mason, what was the game that you watched over this weekend, and what were some of your takeaways?
All right, so the big NFC matchup this week that edged out the Seahawks and the Rams for Sunday Night Football, the Eagles and the Lions. As an Eagles fan, just not another fun watch, to be honest. Another game where they are outgained by their opponent. I went back and clicked through all of their games so far this year to cross-check this. They have only outgained their opponent in yards in 2 of their 10 games this year. That is depressing, considering how much the Eagles are paying their offensive players to do pretty much a whole bunch of nothing. But hey, the defense, I mean, it's a Super Bowl level defense at this point. I don't think anyone can deny. Everyone kind of got healthy after the bye, went out and made the move for Jalen Phillips. They are humming, flying, buzzing, whatever word you want to use to describe the defense. They are just incredible right now, and they might just hold teams to 15 points or below for the rest of the year, and they might just run the table because of that. But it's definitely concerning headed into the playoffs. I think in terms of playoff implications, this is huge for the Eagles. Having home field advantage and the 1 seed would be just awesome for them. Their odds improved after this game to, I saw 50% to get the 1 seed. I've seen 40% in other places. But if they were to lose this game, it would have dropped to 16%. So definitely a huge swing in the NFC, especially with the Eagles holding the tiebreaker over the Rams at this point. So the Rams would have to beat them out by a game in the record to get the 1 seed. I just don't know. I feel like they're just playing with fire too much. The Eagles, all it takes is one play. I mean, we saw Dory Jackson got burned on one play. Like all it takes is one mistake, and then somebody's going to walk in for the touchdown. And then do we really trust the Eagles offense? I mean, I guess they've shown in the past that they can kind of just like do what they need when it's needed. I mean, it seemingly that's all it is like they need a touchdown in the Packers game, and they went out and got it, and then just kind of held on. So is it sustainable? I guess we'll find out. But doesn't feel great as an Eagles fan for sure.
Well, Kyle, throw it over to you as a fellow Eagles fan. How are you feeling about the 8-2 Philadelphia Eagles?
So the defense honestly looks better than last year because the only time we've seen that level of dominance from the D-line was in the Super Bowl. And at that point, everybody was like, this is a generational defensive performance. And the Eagles just put that up in a random week 11 Sunday Night Football game. So, I mean, their defense, Nakobe Dean coming back, he looks even better than he did before the injury. And before the injury, he was the green dot signal caller, play caller for the defense. So he's actually Jahad Campbell before Nakobe Dean came back was favorite for the defensive rookie of the year. So Nakobe Dean comes back and puts a defensive rookie of the year back on the bench because that's how good he's been. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for Jahad because he did have some injuries coming in. So maybe sitting back, learning from two really good linebackers could help him out in the long run. But even in the worst case, you have 3 stud linebackers. So that combined with the D-line getting healthy, Jalix Hunt having a mini breakout that we all expected at the beginning of the season, adding Jalen Phillips, Brandon Graham, Nolan Smith at the bye, they just look like a completely different defense. And then that's not even talking about the back end where you got probably first-team All-Pro Quinion if he actually stays on the path he's on. He's allowing the lowest completion percentage since 2018. So he's just on another level. And then you got Cooper DeJean in the slot. So defense is about as good as you can get. Offense, different story. So I think it comes down – Patullo obviously hasn't been good. I mean, a lot of their raw concepts are just uninspired and very frustrating. But I think the main thing is the blocking for the run game and just the run game in general. Because anytime you've even seen like a glimmer of the run game firing off, all of a sudden everything falls back into place. Like I know it was against the Giants, but they got the run game going and they looked unbeatable on a team that blew them out 2 weeks before. So like if they can get the run game going, maybe get the interior healthy or something, they just got to figure something out. But they can even become 50% better where you're not leading the league in 3 and outs, then I think they have a very good chance of repeating. But as it is now, I mean, it's been 11 weeks, and this is what they've shown you. So I think at some point you just got to accept this. They're not going to have any drastic changes this far into the season, and you just got to buckle up and say this is going to be a horrible 3 hours, but maybe we'll squeak out a 16-9 win. Hopefully it doesn't go to overtime, so we don't have to watch this shit anymore. But yeah, and then Lions side, I mean, I feel the Lions. Obviously, it was a bad game offensively. I mean, no one's going to say anything different. But their defense actually played really well despite the Eagles having their own offensive issues. The Lions made nothing easy. And with their injuries, I think that's something you can really hang your hat on as a Lions fan is that, okay, at least our defense seems to be rounding the corner with like all the injuries. So that's something you can kind of build on. But offense, I don't think they're going to miss the playoffs, but they have an uphill battle to win the division. I don't think the Bears are as good as their record indicates. So, and the Packers seem to be the most befuddling team in the league. So I think the division's still theirs for the taking, but it's not the level of dominance we saw last year. So, I mean, maybe they figure it out over this last couple of weeks. Maybe they get a little bit healthier. But long story short, I think the real take-home of both this game and the Seahawks-Rams game is that defenses dominate the NFC because all 4 teams are the elites of the elites in the NFC. Their defenses are the ones that showed out and really held things together. Like the Seahawks had 4 turnovers and still had a chance to win at the end of the game. Lions had like 6, and they still had a chance to win at the end of the game. So, like, that's the story. So I can't wait for the playoffs because it's going to be 3-6 every game. We're going to see who wins. So I'm excited.
The unders.
At the unders.
Yeah, the thing with Detroit, right? And right now they're on the outside looking in for the playoffs. If they go on the road and they face one of these teams outside, I'm generally concerned for them. Like Jared Goff looked miserable in the cold weather in Philadelphia on Sunday night. If you have to go to a Philly, I mean, Seattle, not going to necessarily be much warmer. If you have to go to Seattle in January, if you have to go to Green Bay, I mean, that's going to be a kick in the ass. So you might get lucky and you get a Rams first round matchup where you're inside. That honestly might be their best matchup for them. But if the Lions have to play outside for 2 or 3 playoff games, I don't like their odds. You know, I think Jared Goff looked so out of his element. And because of that, I think it's really just hard to pick Detroit to do anything legitimate at this point. Even if they end up having to battle Chicago at some point, not that I think the Bears are that good. I think they're barely scraping by, but they are leading the division. And if they can hang on to it, outdoor in Chicago is going to be freezing cold too. So I just don't think the Lions are built for that element. I will say Jahmyr Gibbs had one hell of a game receiving. He looked like he was ready for the moment. Just the rest of the team was not.
Yeah,
so.
They need to give him like 700 touches a game. Just give it to Jahmyr every play, because
DJ.
anytime
It was blowing my mind that they weren't doing that.
the Eagles knew what play was coming, like you saw multiple times they drifted towards the screen, and he still just got out of the way. So I mean, he's on.
He was ping ponging off Eagle defenders. He was just bouncing off of them, and he broke like 2 50-yard receptions for. I think he had like 150 receiving yards, which was like all of Jared Goff's passing yards for the entire game.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because they're like, "Oh, Jared Goff's playing horrible," and then they pop his stats up on the screen, and he'll have like 200 yards before the end of the third quarter, but like 203 of them are yards after catch.
It was literally all Jahmyr Gibbs. So, yeah, I'd be concerned if I were the Lions. I do think, like you said, the defense playing really well, despite the injuries, is something you have to hang your hat on. I think Dan Campbell going for it on 4th down every single time and not converting once. Obviously, law of averages, they'll have to convert eventually, but
yeah,
I think had they just punted or just taken points in some of those situations, it's a completely different game. And I think they played themselves out of the game by doing that.
it honestly blew my mind at that point. I feel like he did dig himself a hole where after the third one, you were kind of like, we have to go for it because like we screwed up the other 3. And now, we need something to go our way. But it honestly, it blew my mind. And I know they were like deep in their territory. I think it was the 4th and 10 with like 5 minutes to go, but you're down 10. I was honestly shocked when they punt the ball. I'm like, at this point, like, what do you have to lose? But I will say, to add to Kyle's point about the Eagles offense needing to get going, I think they're averaging like somewhere around like 20-something points at this point in the year. And I mean, listen, they did have a lot of tough games. You had to go to Green Bay. You had the Lions at home, and it was cold and windy. The Broncos defense is pretty good. The Chiefs in Arrowhead, the Rams. I mean, so it's not like you're playing a bunch of cupcakes and can just put up a bunch of points. But looking at the rest of their schedule, I mean, none of these defenses really scare me. Cowboys, Bears, Chargers, Raiders, Commanders twice. Even the Bills defense doesn't really like scare me that much. So if there is a chance to get right, I think at this stretch at the end of the year, at least for the offensive side of things, I mean, at least to get some sort of mojo going and some sort of confidence leading into the playoffs, they're going to have to get it together in this stretch.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great test against Dallas, right? Nobody on the Cowboys defense is able to stop anybody. Like, I know that they just got some reinforcements and they looked better against the Raiders.
I don't know, but they might actually be I'm a little scared. I'm not going to lie, because they got Overshown back. They got another linebacker. They got Logan Wilson. They got Quinnen Williams. So now they got nasty D tackles. So, I mean,
it's Kelly Green week. Doesn't matter.
I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be 40-40. I think it's going to be another 16-9 game.
If it's another 16-9 game, then
it's in Sherry World, then it's going to be a track meet. So 17-10.
Weather controlled, a bad Cowboys defense. If they can't break 20, then I think they have some real issues. But then moving to a team who doesn't need to score 20 points to win games. I do want to talk about the Broncos win over the Chiefs. I know I started with a moment of silence in this episode for Kansas City because their reign in the AFC West is over. Like I said, really sorry to hear that, guys. But the Broncos were able to defeat the Chiefs at home as home underdogs with a walk-off field goal from Will Lutz. Practically a year to the date when the Chiefs blocked a game-winning field goal from Will Lutz last year in Arrowhead.
And you forget.
That the Chiefs celebrated like their Super Bowl, and they deserved it because that was their Super Bowl. So yeah, roughly a year later, the Broncos seek revenge. This time at home, they get the win. They go to 9-2, heading into their bye week with the division lead pretty comfortable at this point. I think Pat Mahomes looked awful in this game, and I know the Broncos defense is one of the best in the league, but even then, he had a few opportunities, especially early in the game, with deep balls that he just completely missed. Some wide open targets. His best throws downfield all night were to Riley Moss for a defensive pass interference. He was just really unable, aside from the one catch by Thornton, to throw the ball downfield. And because of that, he wasn't able to take the top of the Broncos defense, had to play short and intermediate. And because of that, they weren't able to really move the ball. So I think, honestly, the Chiefs' offense looked very beatable. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're 5-5 through 10 weeks of the season. I think that Kansas City is at a point where nobody fears them anymore. And because of that, I think the Broncos took advantage of that and won that game. Obviously, it was still a tight game, came down to the wire, which you would expect in most division matchups. But the fact that, the Chiefs were unable to take advantage of opportunities and the Broncos did, I think that tells you everything you need to know about the two teams this year. And I think, Kyle, your AFC pick for the Super Bowl is looking mighty fine.
Unfortunately,
I know.
I hate the Broncos.
I think we all picked the Broncos to win the AFC West. It's looking pretty good. When the Eagles and the Broncos play in the Super Bowl and it's a 9-6 final, everybody's gonna be so thrilled. But I mean, they're well on their way. They're the one seed at this point. They're the most battle
going to
tested.
give Quignon his first interception in the Super Bowl.
Honestly, the AFC is going to be so interesting in the playoffs this year. With so many people calling like the Patriots frauds because they're beating up on bad teams. The Colts are kind of looking, Daniel Jones is kind of looking Daniel Jonesy now. The Broncos, I can't get a read on them. They're just fourth quarter merchants.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what to expect.
All they do is win, baby.
Dude, do you guys remember
Ravens?
It could be their year. Their year.
I wouldn't be mad.
Or Bills. Maybe the Bills actually finally make the Super Bowl.
Nope. Yeah, not happening.
That's
what I watched this weekend with the Bills. Barely beating the taped together Tampa Bay Bucks.
Dude,
I'm out on the Bills.
Did they barely beat them? What was the final score?
It was
the
close.
Score isn't very indicative of the actual game. Yeah, it was back and forth the whole time. Allen really started the game off rough.
For very end of the game. Oh yeah, he had 2 touchdowns. I don't know. What was that? Oh yeah.
The score doesn't necessarily reflect how close the game actually was.
Josh Allen 6 tutties.
Josh Allen had to go Super Bowl
second time
in order to win
on your Broncos in the AFC Championship.
I don't know, man. If Josh Allen isn't Superman, they have no shot. He has to play like he just did in order for this.
That's how they built their team. So
it's a
mistake. By Josh Allen,
it's been every year, unfortunately.
It is, and there's no way he's going to be able to. We've never seen him do it, but he's not going to do it 3 straight weeks, 4 straight. I mean, they're not getting a bye, so you're gonna have to go on the road 3 straight weeks in the AFC and then play the NFC team. It's just
AFC is so Mickey Mouse now. Look at the NFC. The NFC is crazy deep teams. I think the 8th seed could beat the 1st seed of the freaking AFC. So Josh Allen.
Who's the 8th seed? Who's the 8th seed in the NFC?
The Lions. So.
Nah, I'd pick the Broncos any day.
The Lions are blowing the doors off the Broncos. Let's be real here.
Not at all.
Yeah, they
in
are.
A dome.
In a dome in Denver, dude.
In a dome's the only chance they have. If they played in Denver, they'd be cooked.
Clean off, brother. Yeah, but I mean, it's crazy.
Super Bowl 9 never.
We gotta go. Eagles gotta go through the 7 layers of hell. The Broncos gotta go eat a 3-piece at Weenie Hut Juniors. It's so annoying, dude. I wish.
You get 2 layups at the end of the year with the Commanders, number 1.
2 layups. They've had Satan's schedule for the first 15 weeks of the season.
Well, they're gonna start. I don't even know who at quarterback. Probably Mariota if he makes it that far.
Mariota. But yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's insane. The Patriots are playing nobodies week after week. Not even the Eagles don't even have a crazy schedule. Well, they do, but everybody in the NFC does because they have to play each other, and they're all crazy deep. So I think whoever wins the NFC is winning the Super Bowl. I think that's just a foregone conclusion. I think we can just skip the Super Bowl altogether. So because
what do you
Broncos, the Broncos are in dogfights with the Giants. So
well, the Giants wiped the floor with the Eagles.
That's a good
not the second time.
Let's not forget that.
Not the second time. I've built character.
Division games don't count.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right,
So,
which is why they struggled against the Raiders on Thursday night. Short week.
you guys scored 10 points on the bum Raiders. You just proved my point again. The Cowboys dropped 33 points on the Raiders. The Broncos dropped 10.
You guys barely
So,
beat the Jets.
The
Jets had to shoot themselves in the face.
Yeah, you guys held the Jets to under 100 yards and almost lost. So, like,
a win's a win, Kyle.
dude,
a win is a
my,
win.
no, you can't say that. No,
Bo
What
Nix
happened
is
to
just a
Philadelphia
winner.
earlier in the season?
winners. That's what no. The refs bailed you out. Ref ball. Congratulations.
Yeah, was it ref ball? Was
It was
ref ball the
ref
reason why
ball.
they blew a 17
That was a
lead?
fumble. The
Yeah,
Bo
that
Nix
was-
fumble.
Yeah, ref ball. So I went to that game too. I got a real close look at the blown call. So I have a primary source. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to even say about whatever we were talking about. Oh, yeah, the Chiefs. You better watch out, bro. They're going to get the 7th seed, and the Broncos are going to blow the 1st seed of the Patriots, and the Broncos are getting bounced first round by the Pats or by the
I'm not
the
worried about
Chiefs.
it.
The Chiefs have the 3rd highest point differential in the AFC, and they're 5-5.
Dude,
and I know
their
point
margin of
differential is
victory
like
is like 17, and their margin of defeat is 4. They have like a better
Yeah, reverse the last
honestly,
season.
it should. Yeah, it like I said, this was going to happen. I think in one of the early episodes, like they were due for a regression. They
Dude, it's
won too
crazy.
many close games last year. And
Offensively, their stats should say they're like an elite team, and then they just lose. It's incredible. The Eagles took their magic. That's what happened. They straight up snatched their chain on live television in front of 100 million people, and now that's why the Eagles are winning all these games on BS, right? We had the block field goal to win the game against the Rams. We have phantom PI call against the Lions. I mean, we're just the Chiefs now. So,
all right, yeah, we need to address that too. Was anyone going to be surprised when the Lions went 4 and out on the next drive if they didn't call a DPI on that? Like, come on.
Yeah, they had no shot anyway.
People acting like they got robbed of a finish. Like, come on.
Dan Campbell robbed them when he went for it 5 times.
I think it was 6, actually.
It was 6.
Yeah, I think he went for it 6 times on 4th down. Did not convert a single time.
No, I thought it was over.
It was 5.
I thought it was 6.
5 plus an interception made it 6 turnovers. We're getting stats guy up here. But yeah,
I thought the 6th one would have been the 4th and 10, and then he finally decided to punt.
But yeah, I think I will say on the Mahomes thing, his deep ball is 100% washed. Like I remember a couple years ago when he started loading up, you're like, oh, he's hitting somebody for 50 plus yards. Now he's hitting somebody in the stands whenever he throws it deep. So like, I don't know what happened, dude. Like maybe he just got so used to not throwing it deep that he just can't do it anymore. But like, there were some bad misses. So.
Well, it goes back to a point I made earlier in the year about Bo Nix, where because Mahomes is throwing it the quickest he has ever in his career this year. He's just getting the ball out quick. And when you are doing only short passes and you try to go for a deep ball, it's just not necessarily there. Like if you start with some intermediate passes and you are throwing 10, 15 down the field, well, now a 30-yard throw down the field is a little bit easier. Instead of going for a 4-yard pass to a 30-yard pass, there's just less room for error. So I think that's the game that they want to play, though. They want to be quick, get the ball out fast, and get the ball in, Worthy's hands, Rasheed Rice's hands.
Yeah, the quick passes supplement the run game, right? So you don't always have to run it. You can do quick hitters. But now it looks like their deep game suffers immensely. So, like, I don't know, bro. All I'm saying is that you don't count the 3-time Super Bowl attendees out, right? But yeah, I think they're burnt out, but I think they could turn around and beat the Broncos in the first round. So
they won't be there.
Really?
They won't be there.
Yeah,
well, the hard part is that all 3 wildcard teams are currently holding the AFC wildcard spots, have beaten the Chiefs.
Yeah, so that's really tough for them. But
so they have to get a game up on these teams
who they got
while still being behind. So
Colts,
that
Cowboys, Texans, Chargers, Titans, Broncos, Raiders. Man,
yeah, I mean,
Broncos
it's not,
game at the end of the year is going to be huge
for a team that has to go
Christmas
5-2 to make the playoffs. I mean, that doesn't sound like a super layup schedule.
No, but I mean, you still have 3 division games, which the Raiders that final week should be a win. But the Raiders weirdly typically play the Chiefs a little tough. They didn't earlier in the year. The Texans should have CJ Stroud back for that game. And the Texans defense has been the best in football. So
I better hope they don't have him back. CJ Stroud stinks.
Well, Davis Mills is much better.
Pat was here.
Well, yeah, if Pat were here, he would argue otherwise.
He would argue.
He would
Darius
argue he
Mills is
should have been the
GOAT.
starter. If he was the starter at the start of the year, maybe the Texans would be in playoff contention right now. Let me channel my inner Pat.
I mean, even the Cowboys are probably going to put up points against the Chiefs. It's
Yeah, the
probably gonna be a
Cowboys are
slugfest.
not an easy out. So like,
It's not an easy win. So
You can really
I
only
just
pencil
don't
in,
think
like,
that
one
you
or
could
two
pencil in the
wins.
Chiefs to go 6-1 down the stretch here and get into the playoffs.
you better hope they miss it, bro. Because I swear, I can already see it. Second seed Broncos after they blow it to the Patriots for the first seed, get bounced at home by the 7th seed Chiefs.
Well, the Patriots can't get the first seed because the Bills will be overtaking them in the division.
Oh,
You know what the Chiefs are going to do? The Chiefs are going to win every game except for that Broncos game, and then going into the playoffs, we'll be saying it's hard to beat a team 3 times.
Hard to beat a team 3 times.
Better watch out.
That's why we're going to
completely
strategically
false.
lose to the Chiefs on Christmas.
Wow.
set
Well,
up
you
for that
guys should be
third
good
game.
at that since you're used to losing to them. So
We are very used to losing to them.
that should be second nature.
Although
ain't
Bo
probably
Nix
have to
has a
try
winning
to.
record against the Chiefs.
Look at that. New era.
2-1. Should be 3-0.
2-1. He's like 30 years old. Wow.
Yeah, well, beat Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts got a ring.
At least Bo Nix teammates like him. At least they love him.
Here we go.
Yeah, we're gonna go there.
Actually, his teammates like him. I don't think his coaches like him.
Probably not, no.
Yeah, Sean Payton probably hates
Yeah,
him.
Sean Payton hates everybody. So
Sean Payton does hate everybody. Sean Payton hates himself. And I think that's the moral of the story.
Yeah, but did Bo Nix's teammates go to his birthday party?
I
No.
don't know. There's rumors about what Bo Nix does with his teammates, so I'll leave that at that.
That's
but
ultimate team bonding, bro.
That is ultimate team bonding. So I think it's a perfect way to wrap up this edition of Sunday Morning Slants. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to check us out live Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. Make sure you check us out on all podcast platforms as well as YouTube. Thank you all for listening and have a great rest of your